Okay, today we're exploring the Colombo Stock Exchange, the CSE. Our goal here is pretty straightforward. Give you a quick but thorough look at the top 10 companies listed in Sri Lanka based on their latest revenues. It's a really interesting way to see how this resilient nation is rebuilding its economy. Think of it as a clearer view of what's really driving things there.
Yeah, and what's truly insightful, I think, is how these companies together, they act as really critical signs of Sri Lanka's economic pulse,
That's a good way to put it.
As of, let's see, June 30th, 2025, the CSE lists 286 companies and their total market capitalization over LKR 6.4 trillion.
So 6.4 trillion rupees.
Yeah.
That's pretty significant for an emerging market, right?
Yeah.
Gives you a real sense of the scale.
Exactly. It shows the economic footprint we're talking about.
So as we actually dig into this list, what's the first thing that jumps out at you? The most striking observation about these top firms?
Well, the big pattern, the one you really can't miss, is just how dominant the diversified conglomerates are.
Oh, interesting. How many?
Six. Six out of the top 10 highest revenue companies are these big diversified groups.
6 out of 10. Wow.
Yeah, it suggests a pretty unique structure for building resilience in their economy, I think.
That is a heavy concentration. So what does that actually mean for Sri Lanka, in the bigger picture?
Well, if you connect the dots, these diversified players, like Haley's PLC, for instance, they top the list, LKR 491.6 billion in revenue.
Nearly half a trillion rupees, just to put that in perspective.
Right. And they operate across 16 different sectors in 80 markets globally. So strategically, they're built to mitigate risk.
Makes sense.
Their sheer breadth, the market penetration, it gives them stability. It cushions them if one particular sector takes a hit. Haley's actually, they were the first listed company there to break US $1 billion in annual revenue. That was back in 2017-18.
That diversification clearly offers stability, but I wonder, could having so much weight concentrated in a few huge conglomerates pose any sort of unique challenges for a smaller economy like Sri Lanka?
That's a really good question. And yeah, while they bring stability, it does mean a pretty substantial chunk of the economy's overall performance is tied to how they do. But I mean, their scale and their proven ability to adapt, that's often been a major strength, especially when the economy faces headwinds.
Okay, so beyond the conglomerates, it looks like financial giants are also key players. We're seeing three major commercial banks up there. Sampath Bank, Commercial Bank of Ceylon. What's their specific role in the recovery and maybe future growth?
Oh, absolutely crucial. These banks are pivotal for, well, capital formation for funding new businesses. They're huge lenders to the SME sector.
SMEs, right.
Yeah.
Small and medium enterprises, often the backbone.
Exactly, the engine of local economies. And they're also really pushing the digital transformation in banking. Sampath Bank, for example, they rolled out Sri Lanka's first multi-point ATM network way back in 1988.
Wow.
And they introduced debit cards to South Asia in 97. Then you have Commercial Bank of Ceylon. They stand out as Sri Lanka's very first 100% carbon neutral bank.
Carbon neutral. That's impressive. We also can't skip Lanka IOC PLC, the energy player.
Definitely not. Critical for energy security, supply stability.
And they even launched that XP100 petrol, right? The 100-octane fuel.
They did. Made Sri Lanka one of only 7 countries offering that advanced fuel.
Now, just a quick point on the numbers we're using, the revenue figures. While they're the latest available, these companies are on different fiscal year schedules.
That's true.
So comparing them directly for the exact same calendar period, like apples to apples, isn't strictly possible across all 10. It's just something to keep in mind.
Right, exactly. That's an important nuance. But what's fascinating is even with those reporting differences, you still see these common threads running through all the top performers.
Like what?
Like a really strong focus on operational efficiency, for one. Continuous innovation is another, whether that's new products like the fuel or advanced digital platforms. And a growing commitment to ESG principles, environmental, social, and governance.
ESG. Seen that everywhere now.
We are. Many of them, like Haley's, again, with their Life Code ESG roadmap, which kind of maps out their big environmental and social commitments. They're showing this broader shift. It's about being responsible corporate citizens.
So wrapping this up then, what's the main takeaway for you, our listener? Hopefully this gives you a clearer picture of the key pillars holding up Sri Lanka's economic recovery and its future path.
Yeah, these aren't just companies on a list. They're really adaptive powerhouses. They seem well-positioned strategically to navigate some pretty complex economic waters and, help drive the country forward.
It definitely makes you think, doesn't it? What lessons might other emerging economies learn from Sri Lanka, leaning so heavily on these big, diversified conglomerates for stability and growth? And how could that maybe shape global investment thinking down the line? Something to chew on, maybe, until our next deep dive.